everybody, and welcome back to the HOG-POD for yet another The Week That Was. I'm delighted to say, as always, starting to become a bit of a regular feature now. I think, in fact, we'll decide we'll keep him. Evening, Ben. How are you?
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you very much. I accept the adoption.
Excellent. Good to see you again, mate, as always. I know we've been on the phone for hours and hours and hours this week, and we've been busy as well. We had a great interview this week, didn't we?
We did, yeah. It was cracking. We met Jim Hamilton, who was very informative, interesting from start to finish, rugby player turned biker. Listening to his own podcast, he talks about this midlife crisis. I realised I think we've just been having a crisis, mate, because we're into the same stuff and just keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. All down to Ben's hard work, stalking toilets at Thunder in the Glen at 1 o'clock in the morning with backup. So no, it was a great interview. It was really nice to have someone from the rugby world. I mean, obviously the wrong type of rugby, but it was still nice to get someone in, and just hearing him talk about things like Murray, like walking out into Murrayfield and facing the hacker. All the kind of things that you just go like, oh my God, I've watched this on the TV year after year after year after year. But it was, really, really interesting and just a really sound, cool guy, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. It was good having a chat with him as well. I mean, he gave us a few hints and tips, but then equally was asking our advice on things in terms of bikes, what he was going to ride. Just what we would say in Fife as a good blether. Yeah.
I think sometimes you meet people, or you anticipate meeting people that are a bit of a celebrity or, up there status wise, and you wonder what they're going to be like. And they always say, don't meet your hero, don't they? But I have to say, I thought he was a sound guy. You'll love the interview. For those of you that are wanting to know when it is out, it will be out later this week. It should be out actually 2 days after you're listening to this. So this will be out on Wednesday, so it should be out just before the weekend there. Definitely track it down, have a listen. Just a good guy. But loads coming up, loads happened. I think we'll look ahead at the road ahead first of all, Ben. We'll start with the triple bill at the weekend coming here. I know we talked about it loosely last week, but 3 rallies, 1 weekend. How on earth did that happen?
Certainly going to be a busy one, isn't it? And you just have to pick one and go with it, I guess.
So I had a chat with Cass from Jersey. Always love catching up with Cass. She's always got loads to say. She's a great girl, and she was telling me that her rally, the Hogs Around the Rock, the Jersey rally, completely sold out, which I think is fantastic. I mean, Jersey, obviously, whenever we were speaking, I was saying to her, can't believe, how have you got on since last year? And she was like, what do you mean from last year? And I said, since you became orphaned last year. And she goes, Kenny, we got orphaned in 2023. I've been in a time warp for 18 months. I've just lost 18 months of my life. I can't believe it's been that long. But she was saying to me that they're doing okay. They obviously felt a bit of a knock whenever they were orphaned. And I've said this before on the podcast, a chapter that becomes orphaned is quite a daunting thing, but maybe they have the support of a nearby chapter or a nearby dealership or, Jersey's way out there, isn't it? It's in the middle of the sea. It's an island. There's some additional complications, which I'll come on to in a bit. But she said, despite that, the chapters kind of pulled together and everyone's putting their shoulder to the wheel, and they're just about to enjoy a sold out rally at the weekend.
It's good to hear, isn't it? And I think actually sometimes it's that geographical isolation that really does solidify people, because you don't have the huge market to choose from. Like if you think about yourself, you could go to 2 other chapters, I'm already in 3 other chapters, as everyone likes to tell me, but I can get to a lot of different places. Do you know what I mean? So I think being stuck on an island like that, it's almost like a crucible. You're either going to get in, get on, get stronger, or not be there, really. So well done to them for pulling together and doing what they're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, the effort to get to Jersey in itself is quite spectacular. Most of the rallies in the UK, you think to yourself, a couple of hours on the motorway, 3-4 hours maybe on the motorway, and I'll be there. Jersey is quite the commitment. So I think it just goes to show what people will do to get to a rally that's good. And presumably the Jersey rally will be enjoying repeat customers like most rallies do. So they obviously put on a show. And I know that she told me last time we spoke, which is a couple of years ago now, but she reiterated it again. They meet their guests at the harbour. They meet them, bit of a personalised service. They meet them and they bring them in and they make sure they get settled in. And that's a 5-star rally, that, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
Jersey is obviously, well, and this is just my view of it. I've never been, but Jersey's quite well to do, isn't it? I think Cass described it as having additional disposable income.
I think so, yeah. I've never been. I think I've been to Guernsey, talk about Channel Islands. Yeah, I think Jersey's probably somewhere you and I might be looked at if we turn up. You more so than me, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the guys aren't as good looking as I am on Jersey. Is that what you mean, Ben? That's awful kind of you. Thanks very much. So
Absolutely, Kenny.
Interestingly, they're having difficulties with. So obviously, they've no dealership there now. One of the first questions I asked them was, "How are you keeping the bikes right? How are you keeping the bikes on the road? Unless there's someone there mechanically minded." It turns out that their master tech is now working for another bike shop, so they do have access to a master tech. Albeit, obviously, all of his training is stopped. But the point that Cass made is the bikes that they have, because they don't have access to the bikes, their bikes are going to stay the same age unless they make the trip to the mainland. And then the second question I asked was, things like parts and things like this. And I found this out. Harley Davidson will not ship parts or apparel to Jersey, which I just find bonkers. And and I said, is that just because of the fact that you're in the middle of the sea? And she said, well, the Amazon man delivers to us.
Yeah. I can't get my head around that, if I'm being totally honest. You've got a captive audience there. They have told you they like your brand. They've been committed to your brand for a while. We'll just turn that tap off for a bit.
Yeah. So, I think they're struggling with that. Of course, I asked her, how are you getting around that? And what they do is they basically, anyone that goes from the island back to the mainland goes off and collects everything that's needed, or people are bulk buying screws and service kits and filters and oils and things like that, and then bringing it back and keeping it saved. So then anyone that's needing it, then there's a bit of a pool, which again, I think is, fair play that they've all pulled together there. But can you just imagine if you needed a service and you're like, oh, we can't service it because we haven't got your oil?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? I've got visions in my head though at the minute of like Cass coming across on a boat being chased by a black and orange speedboat chasing her down with the contraband, like the old prohibition days with the booze.
Really thankful to Sykes, Riders of Bristol and Manchester. There are other ones as well, but they're the three that she's mentioned. So they are finding their way around it. But I just, whenever there was the whole batch of orphans came along, wasn't it? I remember saying at the time that will be the biggest challenge. Jersey will definitely be the biggest challenge. However, go back to the positive stuff. They have a sold out rally. She was telling me that on the Thursday before the rallies, the rally is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But on the Thursday, there is an international air show that is brought across every single year, and they kind of hop onto the back of that. So anyone that's arriving in Jersey, which presumably will be on the Thursday because of just logistics and ferry times and things like that, they get to enjoy the air show, which I imagine if you're surrounded by sea would be pretty spectacular. The other option would be to go to the coast over here to watch the planes over the water. But she said it is a sight to behold. Even if you've seen an air show before, watching it in Jersey apparently is something else.
Just adds an extra level to it.
But it's not the only sold-out rally this weekend, is it? Because there is a triple bill. There's the Lindum Colonia rally, and there's also the Welsh Dragon. I know you got a bit of a word with them, didn't you?
And I've just realised what you've done to me, because you can't pronounce it, can you?
No, I can't. So it's over to you, Ben.
Right. So it's this weekend, funnily enough, which makes it part of the triple bill. It is at the Barn Hotel near Grantham, fully booked, totally sold out. They're a cool chapter. Like, I've met a couple of the guys. I've met Paul and Di at various different things, and they just seem to know how to have fun. Certainly a bit mischievous, but they always look like they're one of those chapters that seems quite tight. So we were talking about Jersey there. They seem very similar in terms of what they're up to, and they're very passionate about their chapter. So the tickets for next year's concursum will be available on Monday, so Paul tells me. So that will be exciting. Get in there fast, get your tickets. He also wanted me to tell people that they have a chapter night every second Thursday of the month, and you'll find them at the Windmill Hotel on the Lincoln bypass on the A46, which sounds like one of those stories, doesn't it? It was a dark and stormy night on the Lincoln bypass.
A46.
Yeah. So yeah, he just said if you want to find out what these chapters are about, go there, because obviously you can't attend the rally this year because they're fully booked, but your tickets will be available on Monday. The next person I spoke to, if you want to hear about that, so I spoke to a friend of mine, Steve Link. So his rally, funnily enough, guess when it is? This weekend coming, part of the triple bill. So they have at the moment around 100 people attending. Check my notes and I'm useless. Kenny, why don't you use the HOG-POD interactive map and save my bacon, please?
I will indeed. So the Dragon Fever Rally is being held in the Cowbridge Town Hall, funnily enough, in Cowbridge. I believe there are a few tickets left still, Ben. I don't think this one's quite a sellout. There might be some available at the door, or if you're looking a wee bargain, you can get them this week before you get there.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is still space if you'd like to attend. And what a cool name, Dragon Fever Rally. But yes, there is still space for them to be there. The other thing Steve was talking to me about is they have that tri-chapter ball that we've spoken about. So when we've spoken previously
winter
about
ball, yeah.
So this year it's them hosting it, and they are at the Vale Resort Hotel in Hensall, Vale of Glamorgan. There's a lot of Vales in there. I'm feeling like I might have to look at that.
So are we going to try and get ourselves onto yet another event for 2026, Ben?
I am saying nothing. No.
High Command has started listening to the podcast.
Yeah,
I got pulled up on a couple of things. So what is it you're planning for next year? Oh, I have no idea just yet. Have you not, Kenny? Looked at the phone. Rumbled, mate. Absolutely.
We're going to need to start speaking in code. Is that such a great plan, though? Because let's be honest, neither of us can remember what we've had for breakfast, and we will actually start planning for 5 years' time. Or one of us will, and the other one's going to be stood there on his Todd.
Yeah. I've actually no idea what we're talking about right now, to be honest with you. It's gone.
Tri-chapter ball, Dragon Fever Rally, Lindum Colonia Concursum, and Hogs Around the Rock all this weekend.
There you go.
All looking like incredible events. Yeah.
Have you ever seen pictures from the tri-chapter ball that they do down there?
I've seen a couple, yeah. So I've had friends that have turned up, and really, like, I'm not gonna. So just to let people into the background of things, I'm not gonna start describing people as things anymore, because it's now getting out there, and people are starting making patches and all sorts of things. So you're getting no descriptors off me anymore. But what I would say is the people involved are very enthusiastic, and they always seem to put on a cracking event. And I have seen pictures. So our friend Pabs, he's been to it. It looked awesome. Looked like a real cracking night.
Yeah, they're the pictures I remember. I think there was quite a few down, actually, from the Sherwood guys. I know Vicky and Matt were down there looking like $1 million. Not that it's hard. Pabs was there. There's quite a few of them. So, no, it looks like a cracking event, actually. And the Geordies, I think we spoke about it briefly a couple of weeks ago. The Geordies are looking at doing it as well, aren't they? They've got their big, Do you know? It's a really good idea, I think, for during the winter. The winter time is just, it's that time that I really, really struggle. There's a crowd that I'm already missing, really, really missing. The likes of, obviously you, other than the fact I'm now seeing it all the time, but still good to see you in the fact. The guys that kick about with the Belfast chapter events, I haven't seen them since HOG-POD, and we're now going into, it's been over a month. God, that's really sad. Yeah. So, the bowls are a great idea, really good idea. And everyone gets to exchange their cuts and put on a DJ or a tux and just have a cracking night.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a brilliant idea. I think as well, like a lot of times we get, and it's not to take anything away from what we do. Obviously, we are about riding our bikes, but also it is that social element. And I think having a couple of big events that are purely social, bikes aren't there. They're there in spirit, if you will, because we'll probably end up talking about bikes because that's what we do. But I think it's just quite cool to have an event that's, like you say, putting on a tux. Actually, lots of people don't like putting on tuxes. But you know what I mean? Having something where you got to scrub up, make a bit of an effort and go to, I think that in itself is just, it makes it a bit more special and something to look forward to. And different from your sort of get-togethers that you'll have in a pub.
Yeah. In fact, that would be a really interesting rally theme, wouldn't it? Instead of it being Vikings or Day of the Dead, dinner party.
Come down with me.
You can imagine, come down with me. You'd have to, you can just imagine, especially, our females trying to pack all the stuff that they need to get ready. It's dead easy for blokes, isn't it? We just put in a jacket and a shirt and shoes and trousers, we're done. You can imagine trying to pack up a dinner dress or is that what you call them? A dinner dress? Would it be a dinner dress? Formal dress? What do you call the big ball gowns? Ball gown. Yeah. Ball gown. Yeah, trying to pack one of those up into a pannier would be some job. So there we go. That is the triple bill happening this weekend.
Just on that though, I do have a slight idea of what that's like because packing my kilt is a nightmare. And you said us blokes. I'm going to put my hands up. I'm a nightmare. Like I pack far too much stuff at all times. You've seen what I turn up with for just a weekend. So I feel your pain, ladies.
There's a reason you have a CVO with all of the tour pack and all of the big panniers. It's quite incredible what you bring. I can go away for days with just a rucksack. In fact, I went to Portugal to go and visit a friend with my little boy's Marvel school bag. Absolutely ram jam, but I was able to do that. Obviously, I don't have to worry about hair product. All my toiletries are out there. But yeah, you do like your luggage, don't you?
I don't like being somewhere and finding I haven't got something. So I just think, sod it, I'll take it all in case. And do you know the annoying thing? I end up taking most of it home as well. So it's just added ballast, wasting fuel.
So anyway, there we go, guys. That is the triple bill for the weekend. Massive weekend. It's also the closing bash of the season for the rallies anyway. There's no more rallies for 2025 after this. There are other events. We've talked about the Winter Bowl. A few weeks ago, if you remember, we spoke about the 20th birthday party for Celtic Thunder, which is actually now, as we speak, 3 weeks away. Not even that. In fact, it's less than 3 weeks away now. That promises to be an absolute belter and is only 4 hours away from me. And I'm hoping that the weather's nice because I plan to go down on the bike, enjoy my night, and then either ride home at midnight, which I know I've been known to do, get myself back home in the dark, or just crash out and then get myself away early hours of the morning to get myself back home for Sunday lunch.
So my advice would be the latter. And you didn't listen to me when you left Thunder to get to the boat, so maybe I'll get through this time, crash out, chill out, early doors next day.
No kamikaze deers, though, over here.
What, none at all? Have you ate them all?
No. There's no snakes here as well. So apparently there are no snakes on the island of Ireland. St. Patrick scared them all away or cursed them all away. Not cursed, he's a pope or is a man
It
of the
wasn't
cloth
a
who
pope.
doesn't curse them. No, it wasn't a pope. It was a priest or whatever the right term for him is. But he scared all the snakes away, so maybe he did the same for the deers. I've seen just one stag in my entire time, but thankfully I was in a car and I was up on a mountain and it jumped over the fence, stood looking at me with the most impressive spread of antlers you've ever seen, and then just disappeared off. Definitely would have come second in the car, would have come third or fourth if I'd have hit it with a bike. But we'll see. I mean, listen, I don't want to miss the party because Celtic Thunder, they come everywhere in support of our chapter. And I know we've got a good contingent going down. Michael is very, very keen, and rightly so, to make sure that there is a good representation from Belfast. You are more than welcome, although, as John frequently says, you might not want to venture that far down from Northern Ireland, maybe across the border and burst into flames. We'll see next year.
Yeah. Yes, I will be there next year for definite. So, I don't want to spoil it. But one quick question that ties into packing. Do you have enough space on your bike to take the correct colour of potatoes with you?
I am not getting into that on this because there are certain people listening that will have my guts for garters next time we see them.
I'm safe enough to get away with it.
Yeah, but thanks for that. Chuck me under the bus, why don't you? Yeah, that's the road ahead. Rear view mirror, let's take a look at what's been happening. We'll start with you, Ben, because you had your band music playing, didn't you? Once again in your full glory this weekend.
Yeah, and I did have a genuine reason for having band music playing this time, not just because I'm a weirdo with eclectic music tastes. So Clyde Valley attended a thing called the Scottish Talk Show, which, fantastic. So it's an invite-only event. You can't just turn up to it, so you have to be asked to come along. There were loads of cars. I mean, we talk about like bike shows and bike rallies and the cost of the car park. There was 2 original DB5s there. So if you can imagine what the cost of those 2 cars on their own, and a very particular McLaren F1, and the name escapes me, but I'll find out and we'll talk about it next week maybe. But that in itself was around £2 million worth of McLaren, and then we're all sat there with our bikes. There was trucks, there was a racing tractor, if you've ever seen one of those, tractor with a helicopter engine. A racing tractor, yeah, it was epic. And see, when it started up, the smell of the fuel was incredible. The noise, it was impressive. Not my cup of tea. I don't like noises like that. Sometimes they make me twitch. But I like the smell of the fuel, so that was proper jet engine fuel. Big trucks. Nut jobs in planes, like low-level flying. And at one point, there was a guy with a 50 cal on the back of, is it a deuce and a half that the Americans used to drive? And I'm assuming it was blanks or it was a stormtrooper operating it.
Yeah, you like to think that they like to think that it was blanks. They have big 50 cal rounds. They've only got to go past you. I don't think they don't even have to hit the target. I think if they sweep past you within a couple of feet, zap.
Well, these planes literally, I think if the pilot had misjudged it, the wingtip would have dug straight into the ground. And they're coming in, going up through trees. They're doing all sorts of mad stuff. So that bit of like, you think you're the coolest guy in a car park, and then this geezer does a flyby that just puts you all to shame. But it was in band music, that's what we were talking about. So it was in aid of the RAF Benevolent Fund, which does a lot to look after people that have served in the RAF. So that was cracking. Big tents, lots of teddy bears and things like that for sale, and brollies. And that was why I had my band music on. So when I hit the entrance to Broomhall House, which ashamedly is less than 30 minutes away from my house, and I had no idea it was there. A quick Google Earth search, I was like, yeah, that's not that far away, and that's massively impressive. So as I hit the entrance, we had 633 Squadron, closely followed by the Dam Busters, and then the Spitfire Prelude. And the last thing, as we were parking, I had those Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines by various RAF bands.
Very good. And how did that go down?
The guy next to me, Stevie, on his CVO was like, what are you doing? I was like, it's an RAF thing, mate. He's like, yeah, but we're on Harleys. So he tried to turn his... he's playing Thunderstruck, which I do like. But the new CVO sound systems sound good. I think the quality of what they're putting out is better. but they don't have the same wattage, and there's 2 speakers less on the new system. So unfortunately, AC/DC was outdone by the central band of the RAF.
Presumably this guy knows that what system's in your bike.
Everyone thinks I've upgraded it, though. That's the question I constantly get asked at the minute. And see, when we talk about Jersey there with moving parts and things like that and why decisions get made. I have no idea why they did it that year. Like, they put this mental 900 watt sound system in this bike, and then you couldn't get it again afterwards.
Yeah, because it's pretty obnoxious, but in a good way, isn't it? It's really, really is some set of sound on it. I've got my little Senna speakers on the inside of my helmet, and that's about as good as it gets. It's like augmented audio.
Yeah. I think you were right with your first description. For most people, it's just obnoxious. I don't make any bones about it. I'm accepting
in a good way.
Thanks.
Did you have any joy? Did you find any joy finding the brass rendition of Bat Out of Hell? Spoke about that a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely not. So I've been trying to find it. There's some sort of recordings on YouTube of brass bands at concerts, but not to the sort of quality that I'd want to hear it. Can't find it anywhere on Spotify, so the hunt continues. It's quite a hard piece of music, though. So actually, I used to play in brass bands, and listening to them play it, there's too many things going on. So I think that's why they don't do it. In terms of technicality, breathing, tonguing, getting all your notes in the right order, it's just a bloody nightmare by the sounds of it.
So the breathing and the tonguing, this is instruments, yeah?
Yes, instruments. My mum listens, Kenny.
Moving on then, okay. And the actual event itself obviously went off well. What about the weather? Because I think I did see one video there, and you look to be relatively dry.
It was cracking. Honestly, it was brilliant. I think some of the magic was the fact it wasn't heaving, so you had time to get around and look at things, and we had a few spots of rain. I joked at one point, I bought one of those, I don't know the proper term, I call it a bikini cover for my bike. So it just goes over the top half and keeps your saddle and your fairing and everything dry. It threatened rain at one point, and I'd got that on hand so I could hide underneath it, because although I pack a lot of stuff, I never pack practical stuff, so I didn't have a waterproof coat with me.
Oh. I see you didn't have waterproof pants either, did you? You don't wear waterproof pants, do you?
I've got waterproof skin, mate. I'd rather get wet and dry back out. It's just the effort of getting into the buggers.
Yeah, I know skin's waterproof. I hear that all the time, but your denim's not. Or is your denim, is it relatively waterproof?
Reasonably. It's not great, but it's not the world's worst either.
No. Have you ever tried the actual, and this is not a plug because of course we're not linked to them at all, but have you ever tried the Harley Davidson thin, almost like Cagoule type waterproofs? They're 150 quid for a 2-piece top and bottoms. I was lent one for a ride out, and I mean, the rain was coming up. It was as spiteful as get out. And there wasn't a single drop of water made it through. Didn't even end up with a soggy groin, as is often the case whenever you're wearing waterproof stuff. I mean, not a drop. And for 150 quid, still haven't bought them yet. And again, it's not a plug because we're not sponsored. Just really, really good kit. Really, really good.
Are they still available?
Yeah, I think so. They do it in like a black and a silver. Yeah. It's a black and a silver. And then I think you can get them with the orange high vis on the top as well, but definitely worth it. And they roll up, and you can more or less stick them anywhere you like. It's a really, really small pack that they roll up into. So yeah, there you go. And cool. When you say the part of the magic was it wasn't heaving, sort of numbers wise, what you're talking about? Is it like a hundreds? Is it thousands?
It's definitely not thousands. Probably a couple of hundred people, maybe a bit more. So the way it's set up, you turn up and they've got like the big house, and they use the sort of steps at the front of that, almost like a stage. So they had a group, 3 female singers, really good. Your normal sort of, not a cappella because it was background music, but you know what I mean? Like a sort of female barbershop choir, doing your 1940s right through to modern day music, which was cool. And then at the front of that, they had the McLaren on a circular lounge. Wasn't that posh? A circular lawn. And they had the Kirkcaldy District Pipe Band playing as well, which I had to chuckle. So I was walking back, I was listening to them, and the person next to me was like, I love that Scottish tune that they're playing. And I couldn't help but chuckle. And the lady was like, what's funny? And I said, well, it was actually written by a German when he went back to Germany, expressing his love of Scotland and how he missed it. But Highland Cathedral, for the record, is not a Scottish tune.
So,
says the Englishman.
Joe, every time, yeah. See, I've said before, every time we speak, there's a fact that comes out that I didn't know. There you go. So I always thought that Highland Cathedral was a Scottish regimental marching tune.
Nope. Written by a German geezer, spent a lot of time in Scotland, went home and missed it. So he wrote Highland Cathedral as an ode to Scotland from his native motherland.
Well, there you go. So once again, guys, if you're in a quiz and the tiebreaker is what nationality of man wrote the Highland Cathedral, then you now know the answer.
Yes. Always happy to help. Big lawn, simulators, vehicles, trucks, and then even more cars. I mean, the cars we were driving past were phenomenal. Like, absolutely stunning examples of things. You'd got everything as well. Ferraris, Jaguars, Morgans, Aston Martins, like I said, and 2 DB5s. Where'd you see that in that sort? Well, obviously in an Aston Martin owners club. But for the common man, where'd you see 2 DB5s in that sort of nick in the same place?
You're talking millions just in the vehicles alone sat there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Millions
absolutely.
and millions. Disgusting amounts of money. As Big Jim Hamilton described it, fuck you money.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Yeah. And 2 Scanias while I get back onto my weird beard routine. And my mate stood next to me and was like, are you a truck spotter? I was like, no, I'm just mildly autistic, mate. As he pointed out, they're not always mutually exclusive. But I thoroughly enjoyed the Scanias. The Scanias didn't enjoy us because we got to a certain point in the afternoon and you were invited to start your engines. And it was quite entertaining, actually. So the chap that invited us was in a 5-litre V8 Mustang, started it, realised he couldn't hear it and turned it straight back off because of how noisy the Harleys were. Even the geezer in the Scania, I think that thing was like a 16-litre V8 with a side pipe, so that's a diversion valve that spits out straight through. At that point, he was sat in his truck just looking at us like, are you going to turn it off so people can have a listen to me in a minute? It was cracking, really good.
Yeah, there you go. Harley's outgunning Scanias. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Well, for myself, it's been a busy enough week as well. I was down in Killarney. I drove down to Dublin and I jumped on an aeroplane and I landed in Kerry International Airport, which is not called Kerry International Airport. It's just called Kerry Airport. It was sold to me by one of the ladies, Fiona, because I know she's listening. You told me it was an international airport. When I got there, I genuinely didn't think we were going to have enough runway to land the plane, but the guy managed to land it and turn it on a 6-pence. And what an experience it was there. Any time I've ever been to an airport, you have to show up, you check in, then you go and join another queue, and you drop your bags, and then you have to go and join a queue to get through passport control. Then you have to go and join the security control. Not a Kerry Airport. No. You show up and Evelyn looks at your passport and weighs you through. Literally. That's it. That's what happens at Kerry Airport. But it was a really, really good couple of days. So I went down, it was on Thursday, and met everyone from BiekFest. So I know I've sort of said a couple of little bits and pieces about it. I was having a meeting with them about a quite a large project that's coming up next year. And it all went really, really well. BiekFest are really excited. I know that HOG-POD, we are absolutely beside ourselves. There's going to be an announcement. There's an announcement being made on the 11th of October this year. about this event. Again, make sure it's in your diary. There will be teasers coming up and reels and all the social media platforms 1 week before that. But the actual reveal is going to be on the 11th of October. And talk about some Irish hospitality. I have to say a huge thank you to Glenn Eagles, Patrick and all of his team. I was so well looked after. Great hospitality. I got into my room. The room was absolutely fantastic. The view from my bedroom was absolutely incredible. If you've ever been to, in fact, you have been to Newcastle because you've been to Hog and Bog, and for the Hog and Bog, and you're looking up at the Moor Mountains. Well, it was very, very similar. But just a crack. And then I had a little knock at my door, and I was like, oh, what's this? Because no one knows I'm here. I opened the door, and they sent on me a little goodie bag, and there was 3 big bottles of beer, which I gladly received, but of course I don't drink other than if I'm at an event, but gratefully received it. And then I had a pack of red Tato crisps in the bag, which of course I didn't eat just out of sheer protest, and then little bars of local chocolate and popcorn and stuff. So that was lovely. And then had the meetings with them, and then they fed me afterwards. And then I actually got to chill out for the day on Friday before my flight. Funny story though, I drove my car all the way down to Dublin Airport, parked it up, got a phone call to say that someone's bag was in it with all of their work stuff. And I was about as popular as a fart under a duvet, as you can well imagine. Not impressed. So while I was flying to Kerry, there was a second car driving all the way down to Dublin Airport with a spare key to retrieve a work bag. So apart from that, the trip was a real success.
All I can say is, in your defense, you were left unsupervised.
Completely unsupervised. I got on the plane by myself. I packed my own bag.
You packed another bag as well, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, not just my bag, other people's bags as well. Yeah. But it was just a really, really cracking couple of days. Loved it, and just so excited for October now to sort of share with the world what this project's all about. It is it's going to be an absolute beezer, as they say in Northern Ireland.
I'm worried that I might resemble a pressure cooker with a dodgy valve by the time we hit October, because I am so excited about what we've been talking about. I'm sat there like, yeah.
It's going to be an absolute blinder.
Yeah,
going to be a blinder. Go on.
I couldn't get over the size of plane though. So when you told me you were flying to Kerry, I was like, surely that's going to be like a turboprop plane or something like that. It was a full-blown plane, mate. I'm amazed there's enough room to get it up and down and back on the ground.
That's exactly what I mean. Now, we were actually cruising for probably 20 minutes. The rest of it was the ascent and the descent. But as you say, proper jet plane. A proper plane. And I looked at the airport as we were circling around to come into it, and I was just like, we are never, ever going to get stopped. But yeah, great little operation down there. And, anyone that's not been to Ireland, particularly in the biking world, they see the hospitality. It is just incredible. I showed up at this hotel. So I've been to BiekFest for the last couple of years. And, see whenever I'm leaving, I'm always as post-rally blues, big time post-rally blues, because in my mind, I'm leaving the party behind. The party continues without me, and it's another year before I get there. My word, BiekFest transforms that entire site. I was sending pictures and videos to the likes of Mark and Lexi and Jermud and, saying, look at this is where the outdoor stage is. This is where, the Harley bar goes. This is where they do the demo ride. Nothing. Yeah. They transformed the place, but the hospitality was exactly the same as when we're down in BiekFest. So, for people that are looking to come and ride in Ireland and looking for an excuse, BiekFest has to be it. And I know I talk about it all the time, but I absolutely love BiekFest, and I think the more and more bikes that we get there, the better it will be as well. They've, they're over the last few years. there's been a few gripes about the fact that it's been less bikers, but they've put so much stuff into place now over the last couple of years that it's starting to go back the other way, and more and more bikes are coming. And I know that they've got things planned specifically for HOG this year. Again,
right, okay.
I'm not going to say too much because there's a proper explanation of it coming from BiekFest. But if it, as a member of HOG, there is some really, really special things coming up in BiekFest for the first time. It's totally different to last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. So, even if you have been and you're thinking, I can maybe give it a miss next year because you've done it, have another think again, because there's so much coming our way being members of HOG. I can say one thing and I'll say one thing only. Private bathrooms for HOG people. Done. Ben, Bike of the Week. I know that you've got an absolute perler Harley Davidson wise, but I'm going to go a little bit rogue here because I've had a bit of a fascination this week with Triumph motorcycles, which I've never really had a good look at since the days of when the Daytona first sort of just came across my radar. Anyway, have you had a look at any of the Triumph bikes before? I know you've got one up in West Coast, haven't you? I think they've got Triumph up there.
So, see, when I bought my first Street Glide, I very nearly ended up on a Triumph, and they have a bike called the Bobber, which I think is just fantastic. It's a factory bobber. The only problem is, as I've pointed out a few times, I'm like a one-man lowering kit for it because I'm quite a big boy. Same way I wouldn't ride a 48, but it's annoying as hell because they have cool bikes.
Yeah, they do. So the one that's caught my eye. So I don't have a particular one here. I was looking at all sorts, and I actually took part of today to go off to the Triumph dealership, which is based in Ballymena, which is about 20 minutes away from my house, to go and have a look at some of these bikes in the metal. So there's some pictures flashing up now if you're watching, and if you're not, then there'll be links down in the description below, so you can take a look. The Scrambler, the Triumph Scrambler. Oh my word, that thing has just tickled my fancy like there's no tomorrow. And I don't know why, but it's just, because that's inappropriate. So I do it like that. Okay. That's a reel, by the way, editor. Oh, that's me.
Yeah. Producer, catch that.
So there's the Scrambler. What a piece of kit. Absolutely love it. It's so I've got some pictures here. I'm going to get these pictures up in front of me so I can actually talk about it properly. I went and had a look at these Triumphs in the metal, and I'll tell you what, I wasn't disappointed. I felt a little traitorous, if I'm honest, going into the Triumph dealership. However, I am looking at motorcycle instruction, as in to be a motorcycle instructor, so I didn't feel like I was cheating on them too much because I was scouting out other vehicles. But the Scrambler, there was the 400, there was a 900 as well, and these things are just fantastic. The setup of them, and I'm just gonna get straight in here, no kissing. The price tag, the price tag absolutely blew me away. I was trying to work out, is it pre-owned? Is there something wrong with it? Is it being written off in an accident and remade? My God, there's definitely a difference in the price point compared to what we're used to with Harley Davidson, which is that aspirational brand.
Yeah. I've had similar thoughts. See, when I look at other bikes, I think we're well conditioned as Harley riders to think what a bike costs, and then you look at other bikes available. And what you said there, I've always looked at them. I mean, you've got Enfield as well, you've got BSA that have come back, and you're just like, so where's the broken bit then? Or is it a factory second at that cost? Like, how on earth are they doing it? They're just cracking bikes.
Yeah. So
Did they let you start one?
No, I didn't go and ask.
Right.
So I think I'm full disclosure here. I'm actually going to go back and test ride one. I'm going to go up with my license and I'm going to take one out. I'm absolutely fascinated for them. Believe it or not, it's actually the smaller one. I'm looking at a little hack bike for during the winter. And they do this Scrambler comes in a 400, and it's just I think it's a bit of nostalgia for me because I used to have a little 400 CBR, which was a Japanese import, like a little baby blade, they used to call them. And this thing it screamed like a banshee. It rode like it was on rails. It was only a 400. So it redlined at something like 128,000 revs or, whatever it was. It was, but I absolutely loved it. It was in Strodium yellow and it was an absolute peach of a machine, and then eventually moved it on. But this Scrambler, it's a 400, which a lot of people go, oh, it's tiny little bike. But GC, just for hacking around in the wintertime, I think it's absolutely ideal. There's a slight knobble on the tire. They're not knobblies, but they're not the normal road type tires. So when you're looking at it aesthetically, it's got this like off-roady, even though it's never going to be off-road, particularly in Northern Ireland, because that off-road riding or green laning is probably known back at home. It's totally illegal over here, so you're just not allowed to do it. But the actual piece of kit itself, you probably wouldn't want to take it off-road because it's so nice. Again, there's some pictures flashing up here. Interestingly, the exhaust goes right under your right leg. So there must be either a number of shields protecting you, or you have to ride with one leg out like you're like a cowboy.
Just like that.
Yeah. Not sure if we caught that on camera, but Ben's basically trying to stick his head over his his leg over his head. It's been some years, I'm sure, since you've done that. But have you seen this bike yourself, have you?
I have, yeah. I've seen quite a few Triumphs. As I said, it's a bit of a dirty pleasure or a dirty secret of mine. I think they just knock out really cool bikes. The exhaust placement, it's almost parallel to that seat, isn't it? And the seat's got that flat, almost like a cafe racer vibe to it. Very nostalgic. And if you look at their engines, see the modern components that they hide in them with bits that look like an old throttle body or something like that. As you walk past it, they've done a good job. I think in terms of retro bikes, they're bang on the money for it. And the 400 bit, that doesn't really. So my other bike is a Moto Guzzi V7, and it's a 750, and I call that my little bike. And that's the other thing as Harley riders. We're used to big CCs, aren't we? They're all up and over 1,000, and you just think that's the norm. My friend Cammy, my barber, was wetting himself when I described my 750 as my small bike. She's like, that isn't small, Ben, that's a proper bike. And it is, but like the 400, like you say, it'll be good fun. And the thing is, you can ride that giving it death and not lose your license, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what I did see, there was two other variants. There's the 900 variant and the 1200 variant. Now, at that point, the price tag is starting to ramp right up. But I think that the 400, I think it was less than £6,000, which is just brand new, absolutely bonkers. The 1200, now that's a beast. The 1200 Scrambler, that's a big boy. And I imagine that the poke on that bike will be something else. Tell you what caught me off guard whenever I was looking at all of them, they've all got a chain.
Yeah, other bikes do that bit as well, isn't it?
Yeah. There's not, I don't know why, because I know that we're belt driven and many other bikes are shaft driven. But I saw the chain. I was just like, oh, it's had a chain conversion. No, it hasn't had a chain conversion. It was made with the chain. Yeah. But no, beautiful bikes. I have to say, a little bit of a guilty secret, as you say. I'm going to keep you posted because this story has not ended because, like I say, I'm going to take one out and just see what happens. But I believe that you found a bike Harley-wise, and I have to say, you've outdone yourself again, Ben. Absolute peach.
I try my best, and I'll be totally honest, Kenny, you caught me off guard. I've been hiding this one because I found it actually a couple of weeks ago and I haven't wanted to share it because I'm scared when we share it, some bugger's going to buy it, and I haven't managed to work on the wife enough to let me buy it. I'm going to introduce it because this bike has a name. So it's not just another Harley. Obviously, Harleys have their own names. So this one most people would know it as a Crossbones, but it's actually called Hot Cross Bob. And Hot Cross Bob is down in Sykes. It's 2009 on a 58 plate, and it's Crossbones. anyone that knows a Crossbones just out the box is cool. It's their sort of, it was Harley's attempt really, wasn't it, at like a factory custom that was a proper custom, quite bobberish in its aesthetics. It's got your coach lines again that come on it as standard. So if you've never seen a Crossbones, go and have a look at one. Awesome bike. I believe though, see when they were actually being manufactured, I don't think a lot of people liked them. And then they seem to gain notoriety. It seems a bit of a theme with Harley, doesn't it? Like they stick bikes out, people are like, oh no, I don't like that. And then as soon as you can't buy it anymore, everyone suddenly wants one. There's a couple of boys over your side of the water. Mr. Dobson, he's got a Crossbones. Michael, he's got a Crossbones as well.
Story about Michael's actually. So he was in Italy at the time. I went down to the dealership just to go and have a little bit of a porno day, just to go and have a look at the bikes. Walked in and sort of looked to my left, and then I stopped and looked again, and I shouted Sean over. Sean is the salesman there for Belfast Harley, but he's a Welsh boy, but we're still friends. He's okay. He's all right for a Welshman. And I said to him, I said, have you had much interest in this bike? And he goes, bloody hell, Kenny, there is not a single person walking past that without stopping dead. I was like, mate, have you any idea what you have here? And he goes, I'm starting to think so. I said, have you put it on the internet yet? And he goes, no, it hasn't gone on yet. It's going up later today. And I said to him, you are going to have 15 phone calls, a seller, and 2 people in reserve by the end of the day. In fact, watch this. And I took pictures of it and I put it up onto my own socials, the HOG-POD socials. And within 3 hours, numerous phone calls, a buyer, Michael, and 2 people on reserve for it. They are brilliant. They're gorgeous to look at. And this one particularly, so there's a picture here, but if you can't see the picture, it looks like, I think they call them a rocker. Is it a rocker C or a C rocker? That style that it's been... Rocker C, that's what it looks like to me. The wheels are spokes, but the rims of the wheel are powder coated. Is that red or orange, would you say, looking at that? It's difficult to say. I think it's red to see, isn't it? Yeah. With the white.
We'll go with orangey red.
Yeah. And then it's got the white walls on it, doesn't it? And it looks to me like it's that big 26 tyre as well, isn't it? Or is it even bigger again, like the big breakout tyre? Looks like it, doesn't it?
Oh, you mean the rear tyre? I don't think it's quite as big as a 260. Might be. It's just got loads of little bits on it, though, hasn't it? Like the chopped rear fender's really cool. Like you're saying, those powder-coated rims with the stainless spokes, that's really nostalgic. And that's the mad thing about them, though. 2009, and it looks like that. It looks like... We looked at that Cervicar the other day. I reckon you could put a Crossbones next to a Cervicar and you wouldn't think they're too far removed from each other. So something with an engine from 2009, some of the tech that Harley's caught up with in terms of that, in a bike that looks like it could be straight out the 40s. The exhaust on it, it's not my taste. If I'm being totally honest, that's the only thing about it that slows me up slightly is the exhaust. But it's heat wrapped, it's cool, it's got a kind of fishtaily vibe to it. And if you're looking at the picture with the exhaust where you're seeing it side on, that gives you the hint of the extra details. So we were both talking about where are the rear lights. Well, they're actually down at the bottom by the rear axle, so you can see them just underneath.
Yeah.
So that sort of stuff just tickles me, that bit.
Yes,
little bits.
That way, not that way, because that's inappropriate.
Absolutely. That's why we have a HR protocol. We need to get onto that, actually, Kenny. Now there's 2 of us. We might have to look at employment stuff and do we need policies and stuff like that. But anyway, going back to the bike, the little hints and bits, like the grips, I hadn't even noticed it because they're quite old school grips on there. They're heated.
Yeah. Heated grips,
yeah, but you've got that classic shape, that classic grip, and then just at the side of it, you've got the controls. So there's little bits, again, a bit like the bike that was seafoam green. It's the bits and pieces, isn't it? You look at it straight away, and then you look at it again, and every time you look at it, there's another detail, aside from the fact it's a Crossbones. So please don't rush. Actually, no, I'm lying. Help yourself, go and buy it, because I'd be dreaming to think that my wife would let me have another Harley. So get yourself onto the website. Jordan at Sykes is the man to have a chat with. That's a belter. See if that's still there next week. I'm going to start disowning folks.
There is one thing missing on this bike, which I've just noticed. Mileage. It's only got 10,500 miles on it.
There is that as well, isn't it?
2008, 10,500 miles, 10,425 to be exact. That bike has hardly turned a wheel.
Yeah.
So, as Ben says, have a look at that. There's links in the descriptions wherever you're listening or watching this. And did we say the price? Did we tell them how much it was?
We didn't know it. So it's 15,995, which I think is a steal. Again, a bit like the sports we spoke about previously. That amount of customization and that cost, the two just don't seem to add up. So I'd get on that as quick as possible.
Well, folks, there we go. Another week's gone past, another week towards the end of the season, but it's been a busy old show. Ben, that flew in tonight, certainly for me. I'm not sure how quick it's going to be for people listening. As I frequently told, I fall asleep to you, Kenny, which is a compliment in there somewhere, I think. But I really enjoyed tonight. Ben, thanks very much for coming back again.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I've just sat down personally. It has whizzed in tonight. It's been a good chat.
Absolutely. So I think the last thing to say from both of us, good luck to everybody at the Jersey chapter, at the Welsh Dragon chapter, and the other chapter, no, I'm only joking, the Lindum Colonia chapter. Best of luck. Hope that your rallies go really, really well. The last thing from me will be once the triple bill is out of the way, all of the rallies for 2026, because there are many, many that are releasing tickets already. I will be updating the interactive map and I'll be updating the rally calendar. So you've got one port of call for everyone's rally. Again, there'll be links to that in the bottom. But if you just Google HOG-POD map or HOG-POD rallies, you'll find it dead easy. But aside from that, Ben, it's good to see you again. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, keep it shiny side up.